One of the things I call myself at this point in my life, and I have been for many years, is I'm a recovering perfectionist. And perfectionism is a very common attitude, a very common characteristic of driven, successful people because it does drive people to the top. It also can drive them to the gutter. Unfortunately, I don't have to go that far. And now I can make a mistake and say, it's okay. I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. Not the end of the world. Let me correct it and move on.
This is Jared with Faster Results Podcast. Excited to have you guys here today. We have some really great information coming your way. Jerry Siegel is with us today, and he has a plethora of information, and I want to jump right in. Jerry, awesome to have you with us. Can you briefly introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you achieve faster results or better results for people you interact with?
Thank you, Jared, and I certainly will do that. My background starts with being a CPA. I then spent 20 years in the full-service truck leasing business, same business as Ryder and Penske. Starting the financial side, became CEO of a company in New York. And when I left to go into business for myself back in the 80s, we had 125 people. We were doing a volume of 14 million. And since then, now coming up on 40 years, I've been in the business of management training and development, executive coaching, and personal development, trying to help people use a little bit more of their potential to get better results for themselves and their organization.
Yeah, I love it. You've been you've done it, man. Like, you've been in it yourself for so many years. So it's not just head knowledge, which head knowledge is good too, right? Books are good, education's good, all that's good, but you've actually been there and experienced this and done this yourself with these companies. So when someone wants to see results quickly, what's maybe one of the first things that you recommend they should focus on?
Well, the first thing I would recommend is that they either learn how or increase the habit of writing their goals and prioritizing their goals. We help people learn how and get in the habit of writing their long-term goals and then bringing it back to the present, so that what they're doing every day is going to help them help them reach what they want to accomplish long term. For example, as 2026 is approaching, you take your annual goals, you break them down into monthly goals, you break the monthly goals into weekly goals, break the weekly goals into daily goals, and those daily goals are probably something that most everybody has, which is a to-do list. But if the to-do list is based on what you want to accomplish long term, you're doing the things that you need to do to get to where you want to go long term.
No, that's awesome. I was kind of thinking about tools too, maybe tools that make a big difference, or any other strategy or habit that you recommend to accelerate progress for the people you work with.
Well, the tools that we offer, Jared, are based on multi-sensory programs that are written and recorded word for word that help people gain insight into their existing habits. And we're all creatures of habit. Roughly 95% of every day is directed by habit. And when I talk about habit, I'm talking about work habits, personal habits, and probably more important, attitudes that are habits of thought. Because many of our attitudes were given to us when we were children by parents, teachers, and other adults. And obviously, as we know, the world is certainly not the same today as it was yesterday, much less decades ago, and we need to change.
I love that. Yeah, I love, a holistic, you're taking a holistic approach. It's not just a superficial approach to this, it's going deeper. And
Yes.
I'm sure that was years of learning and experiencing yourself, and a lot of real world training. So I know you've worked with, many people, helped a lot of people get results, a lot of successes. And this may be hard for you, but if I was going to have you choose maybe one example or maybe two examples that you'd be willing to share with us
Sure.
today, it'd be great to hear.
Excuse me. Probably one of the best examples I can give you is I work with a managing partner of a 60-person law firm. And before I went through my what I call a learning program, because since I'm generally working, as I said, with management, Most management thinks training is for low level of staff people, and nobody can take an issue with a learning program. And before this individual went through the program with me, which runs for 7 weeks, one of his habits was he would check the stock market for a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes in the afternoon to see how his investments were doing. By making that one behavior change, which certainly wasn't helping him run a 60-person law firm, his productivity increased by more than an hour every week. The return on investment was enormous. And that is typical because we don't see ourselves, Jared. We don't see what we do. We don't see what we don't do. Because we all are such creatures of a habit. We just go, we just move, we react, we respond to what's happening. And probably the next best example I can give you is myself. Because when I ran that company I mentioned, when people used to ask me, how do I delegate? I used to say, I love to delegate. I'm terrific at delegation. And I thought I was, because at 40, 41, 42 years of age, I had an assistant, I had a secretary, had a good management team. I had a company that was growing, a company that was profitable. And at that age and stage of my life, it seemed to me I must be doing a good job delegating. Unfortunately, I was kidding myself, because what I did back in those days was work 60, 70 hours a week, and things were getting done. Because something would come across my desk and I would say to myself, I don't want to give this to my assistant. She's also the office manager. She's got 13, 14 people who report to her. My secretary, of course, doesn't understand the business. I have a director of operations who's a good man, but if I do it, it's going to be done right. One of the things I call myself at this point in my life, and I have been for many years, is I'm a recovering perfectionist. And perfectionism is a very common attitude, very common characteristic of driven, successful people, because it does drive people to the top. It also can drive them to the gutter. Fortunately, I didn't have to go that far. And now I can make a mistake and say, it's okay. I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. Not the end of the world. Let me correct it and move on. So that is one of the examples of what people gain in terms of insight, which is the first step in making change. And probably the people that benefit the most from the learning program are people that are willing and able to change. Unfortunately, change is not one of the things that most people embrace, and most people resist it. Most people are threatened by it. Most people are fearful of it. I tell the story that back in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, when they brought the prisoners into the stadium and they gave them the choice of two doors, one was the door of the lions and one was the black door, invariably they chose the lions. The black door was freedom. But humans back then and humans today don't want to walk through a black door. And whenever you're making a change, that's what you're doing. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you know the definition of insanity. And based on my decades of experience in training and development, I've come to the conclusion that somewhere in the area of 95 to 96% of the population live their life unintentionally, of course, by that definition, simply because they just don't see what they're doing. And as I shared, I was an example of that many years ago.
Wow. I mean, I love the power of, I mean, you could have named hundreds of businesses you help, which you did, but you also kind of used your personal example, which is so powerful because it's changed your life. You've allowed these ideas, these processes to change you and other businesses, and you believe in it, and you believe it to your core. And so I think that's powerful when, you know, some people in your industry, maybe they give lip service to kind of the things you're talking about, but you've lived it, you've done it, you've breathed it, it's changed your life. And I love your ancient Greece and Rome example too. I recently traveled to these areas, and I love the history of that. It's a great example. People are going to want to connect with you, Jerry. They're going to want to know how to connect with you. And so if you just, with this last kind of moment we have together, if you'd be willing to share the best way to connect with you, that would be awesome.
The best way to connect with me, Jared, is through email. Jerry at JASB, as in John Alice Samboy Management.com. They can also view my website, which will give them the email address to connect directly. It also will give them an overview of some of the things we do and some of the ways that we help people. And I'll just share my life mission at this point in time, which is to do as much as I can, for as many as I can, for as long as I can, to make a difference in the lives of hundreds of people. And between my background and the wherewithal and the materials I have available to me, I have the wherewithal, but I'm unfortunately unable to do that unless people say I'm willing to invest in myself. I'm willing to invest in my people. I'm willing to invest in my company. Warren Buffett said years ago, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make in your life. But unfortunately, this country does not focus on continuous improvement or personal development. It's a shame, but it is at what it is. The only two industries that I know of that budget and invest regularly in their people are banking and technology. And that's one of the reasons why the technology companies at this point in time are directing the business world.
I love that.
That would be what I can tell you.
Well, I love that. Thanks for sharing your mission too. And I know that this isn't the details of your program, but just even what you shared today, you might help thousands get little nuggets from today. And then someone that's listening is going to want to go deeper with their business, with their life. And guys, reach out to Jerry. Guys, Get Faster Results podcast, another great episode. Thank you, Jerry Siegel, for sharing your wisdom, and the best is yet to come.